Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Respected dignitaries, expert speakers of the day, and my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to the third day of our 5 days Zakat Talks, international online Zakat conference brought to you by AMP zakatindia.com, indiazakat.com, and ummah1.com. I am Dr. Sayyidullah Munshi, a member of AMP and head of the National Project Employability Training Program and Skill Training Program. By profession, I'm a doctor, NLP trainer, hypnotherapist, industrialist, life coach, and representing a company as founder and CEO by name India Private Limited, business home solution and marketing consultancy services, and the chairman of the Indian Cosmopolitan Education Charitable Trust. I will be your host for this session and will accompany on with you on this beautiful learning journey about Zakat, where we are discussing Zakat for economic empowerment the Ummah on behalf of indiazakat.com and ummah1.com. I extend my warm welcome to one and all, and especially to our speaker of the day, Mr. Javi Sheikh, startup education ecosystem enabler from Gujarat, team member of indiazakat.com, Mr. Abdur Raqeeb, General Secretary, Islamic Center for Islamic Finance, Dr. Sami, Soulaimani, founder and CEO, Fineopolis Consulting, and Mufti Shamshul Misbahi, Jamia Imam Ahmad Raza, Hasan, Ahsanul Barakaat, Newcastle, South Africa. So I would like to welcome Brother Amir Idrisi, also President EMP, and all other who are present here today as a panelist, as a co-host, as a host, and as a today's our guests. Now I would like to call Brother Javi Sheikh to give a brief introduction about indiazakat.com. Now over to you, Mr. Javi Sheikh.
Thank you, Dr. Munshi.
Brother Ahsan, can you change the slide, please?
Once again, welcome all of you on this wonderful evening for the Zakat talks by Association of Muslim Professionals, India Zakat and Ummah 1. And thank you organizers for giving me this opportunity to highlight and introduce briefly about what IZC, India Zakat, Association of Muslim Professional and Ummah 1. So I would start with Association of Muslim Professional first. So Association of Muslim Professional is a Section 8 not-for-profit company under Companies Act 2013 who is working, who have come together. It is an organization for professional Muslims who have come together to perform their bit for the welfare of the society and nation through education and economic empowerment. Okay, the above objectives are achieved by providing assistance to needy individuals irrespective of caste, creed, and religion. Let me brief you about the one of the initiative of Association of Muslim Professional as a AMP Zakat fund. So Zakat is one of the 5 pillars of Islam for which Muslims voluntarily spend 2.5% of their wealth on charity. An AMP Zakat fund was started in 2013 with a focus of collectively utilizing it for the education and economic empowerment of underprivileged Muslims. Okay, with the same spirit, Association of Muslim Professionals has started their another initiative, second initiatives dedicated for Zakat. Okay, as an India Zakat platform. So India Zakat is India's first social crowdfunding platform with a view to bring Zakat seekers and Zakat giver on a unified platform. The main objective behind this initiative is to undertake its operations purely with the intent of bringing socio-economic transformation in the lives of people without seeking to generate any commercial surplus. This platform is a step in the direction of mobilizing collection of zakat, sadhaka, fitra, and other charities in collective way and channelize this collection from providing benefits to the poor and backward section of the society for their overall survival, upliftment, and development and growth. Okay, few highlights. Alhamdulillah, in this Ramzan, India Zakat will complete almost 2 years, okay, in this in the Ramzan month, okay. And out of this 2 years, what we have achieved, so some highlights, like we have raised more than 8 crore rupees, okay, as a donation, which is somewhere around $1 million plus, okay. We have supported 2,800 plus causes, okay, which is directly supporting by 2,000 plus families, okay. 26,000 plus donations we have received, and the overall impact what India Zakat has created is it replicate into more than 700 plus cities, okay. Our partner for today's event is Umma1.com. So Umma1.com is a first of its kind social organization, marketing
Just
and
one second,
technology.
just to stop you in between.
Yeah, brother.
Brother Hassan, can you move to the right slides? Because we have slides for each organization that Brother Javed can use, inshallah, as reference. Brother Hassan, can you move to the next slides, please?
Next. Yeah. So our partner Umma1.com is a first of its kind social organization, marketing and technology solution initiative. It support your organization with scalable operation support across creative designing, creative libraries, content creation, content management, volunteer management, digital marketing, and social media marketing. Think of Umma1.com as a digital first marketing agency as your partner. Umma1 will help you put your organization on a digital and technology transformation roadmap. It has a not for profit motive. I request everyone visit Umma1.com, www.umma1.com now for a free marketing audit. Okay. So thank you for this opportunity, and over to you, Brother Munshi.
Thank you. Thanks for the short and impactful introduction of Zakar, IndiaZakar.com and Umma1.com. Undoubtedly, IndiaZakar.com is a milestone project of PMP, and within a short period of time, it has impacted many lives. Yesterday, we have discussed utilizing the power of Zakat for economic empowerment and self-sustainability of Muslims and thus nation building, under which we are enlightened as to what Zakat is and how it is to be benefited and how it is to be empowered the society's economic. And today we have speakers who are not less than an oracle who will help us to understand how Zakat can be used for economic empowerment of the Ummah. As we all know, Islam is not only deen, but it is the system of life. It covers and guides the all aspects of life of mankind here and in Akhirah. It is not just a religion. A true religion of Allah is Islam. And thus Islam does talk and guide us on all aspects of our life, and finance and economic are no exception. To increase our understanding as to how zakat is not just a microeconomic factor but also a macroeconomic factor, our today's topic for discussion is most common challenges with zakat management today and possible solutions for the same. So here I would like to introduce and invite our first speaker of the day, Brother Abdur Raqeeb Sahab, General Secretary of Indian Center for Islamic Finance, convener National Committee on Islamic Banking, and has been promoting the concept of interest-free banking throughout India. Was
Brother
born
Hassan,
in Vanayambadi, currently staying in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. He has done BSc in chemistry, holds in a diploma in leather technology, and completed MA in journalism and mass communication. And also he has completed certificate course in Zakat management from IIIBF. He hails from leather industry of Chennai, written several articles on technology and trade in leather industry, and received awards from Council for Leather Exports and Commerce Ministry. Also the editor of Tamil Fortnight Samarasam. He was awarded the Best Journalist Award by Islamia Tamil Islamic Literary Organization. Also the editor of Tamil Fortnightly was awarded. Okay. He is currently associated with many NGOs, like he is a General Secretary, Indian Center for Islamic Finance, Convener, National Committee on Islamic Banking. Member, All India Muslim Personal Law Board. National Executive Member, Jamaat Islami Hind. Member, Human Welfare Foundation, New Delhi. Trustee, Sahulat Microfinance, New Delhi. General Secretary, Islamic Foundation Trust, Chennai. His activities related to Islamic finance and banking are: he interacted with finance ministers, governors of RBI, deputy governor of RBI, and deputy chairman planning commission to introduce the concept of Islamic banking in India. He prepared a document along with experts for interest-free windows in conventional banks and submitted to RBI and Finance Ministry. He interacted with High-Level Committee on Finance Sector Reforms of Planning Commission of India, headed by Dr. Raghuram Rajan, which recommended introduction interest-free banking. He appeared before the panel of RBI on medium-term path on financial inclusion and pleaded successfully for introduction of interest-free windows in commercial banks. He pleaded and case for introduction of Islamic insurance, the Kafur, before the Select Committee on Insurance of Parliament. He visited many countries to study working methodology of Islamic banks and led a delegation of businessmen from Chennai to Malaysia. He attended many national and international conferences like World Islamic Bank Conference in Bahrain, IDB Islamic Finance Conference in Sukuk in London, UK, Red Money Roadshow in Malaysia, Bank Nigara, Malaysia, and IDB for Regulatory and represented India, International Muslim Business Conference, Istanbul, Turkey, and chairman of the committee which organized an international conference on Islamic banking. He presented the case of Islamic finance and banking in several prestigious universities. He has written several articles in media and journals, appeared in TV debates, and involved in social media to create financial literacy in the community. With a great honor, I invite Mr. Abdur Raqeeb to share his view on most common challenges with the Zakat management today and the possible solutions for the same. Now, over to Brother Abdur Raqeeb Sahab. Your time is 30 minutes from now.
Yes. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Respected brothers and sisters, members of India Zakat, Ummah One, and my dear friends. It's a great pleasure for me and it's a great honor for which I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having given this opportunity for presenting my thoughts on most common challenges with Zakat management today and the possible solutions. I'm thankful to both AMP, India Zakat and Ummah for giving me this opportunity. Friends, today when we go and talk to the people on the street or even a Muslim, a very, very pious Muslim, and ask him what are the fundamentals of Islam, he will say that yes, Kalima Shahadat is there and Salat is there, and also the obligatory prayer, Saum is there, Hajj is there. But unfortunately, people don't know much of the Zakat. People are very much engaged in prayers, not only the first prayers, but also Nawafil. They also have the fasting in Ramzan and also other days, and also they perform Hajj and all. But when we talk about the Zakat, very little is known to the people. And when we talk to anybody, even the very, very religious person, and ask him how much is the nisab and how much threshold of the money that the man should have for having this zakat, and he won't be knowing. And most particularly, if you talk to them about who are the people to be given, who are the categories of the people that has to be given the zakat, very little knowledge is there. They usually say that yes, we have to give to our relatives and and the poor people in our neighborhood, or at the most they will say that it has to be given to what is called the madrasas and some of the yatim khana and all. And so the problem is why we have to give so much of importance on zakat, because among all the 5 pillars of Islam, it is only for the zakat. It is only for the zakat. We come to know that it is institutionalized, and you take out a few slides because I've gone ahead. Please go ahead, please. 4 or 5 slides I've gone. Yeah. So because in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Khudh min amwalihim sadaqah, tutahhiruhum wa tuzakkihim biha wa salli alayhim." So the only thing, the zakat has been ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be institutionalized. He appoints some of the people who have to work and then do the zakat and administration the zakat. So unfortunately today people don't know how the zakat has to be operated. It is not just giving a merely charity in individuals to implement, but it is a benevolence of the wealthy people. Zakat is a social welfare institution supervised by the state. The organization has to do all these things. But how was the system there in the Prophet's time? That has to be next slide, please. How was the next, please? Yes, stop. Bring it back, please. How was the zakat administration was done during Prophet's time? Prophet used to send officials to go to the potential zakat payers and having properly assessed their zakatable assets collected and the due amount. He used to have amilin zakat, collectors of the zakat, regional and local. About 31 places he has sent the collectors of the zakat, and then katibin zakat. And then when they collect the zakat, they keep the account of the zakat. And at that time, there were agriculture produce. Wheat was there, grape was there, so many other agriculture produce were there. There were kharisin, estimators were there who used to estimate the amount of zakat for them. And then amilin huma, collectors from the animal and widow. That was another source of income. Next. So next, please. So you know that what? No, please. So what happened that it was continued during the Khulafa Rashidin, and during Hazrat Umar's time, there was nobody to take their zakat. Once in the first year, he sent Muaz ibn Jabal to Yemen to collect the zakat. He sent back about 1/3 of the zakat to Medina. Then Hazrat Umar asked, "Is there nobody to take the zakat?" He said, "No." The next year, he said he sent about half of the zakat to the Medina to Hazrat Umar. Then the 3rd year, he sent all the zakat. So there was not a single man to get the zakat in the Yemen during Hazrat Umar's time. It was the same time with Umar bin Abdul Aziz also. Next. Next, please. So today, what is the present situation in India? So we have got some of the institutions who are operating in the zakat. In India, we have got 200 million Muslims. 20 crores Muslims are there, but only a few local and organization collecting the zakat. Baitul Zakat, ICIF, and Association of Muslim Professionals got India Zakat, and 2 organizations, Jamaat Islami and Amarat al-Sharia, Bihar and Odisha, has got the institutional zakat. Most of the zakat payments are cash transaction. Collectors are poorly organized, distribution made in piecemeal, and mostly individuals and madrasas. Needy and poor of the community will flock together at the residence of the and offices of the well-to-do people and receive the zakat. Next, please. So the zakat is today very elementary today in India. People are thinking that if they hand over a few clothes of cloth or the grain or some length of cloth or a few 100 rupees, it is all. And then it is given to the beggars, or then, and as somebody has said, that zakat is given to persons as a painkiller that gives relief for a few seconds and all these things. So, and zakat should be used. I'm talking, it is not the AMP, but most of the zakat people are giving most of the people in India give cash to the people only, not transferring in the bank and all, but AIM is doing crowdfunding, and that's a different thing. So next slide. Next slide. So today, what is the condition of the Muslims? You know that among the beggars, 1/4 of the Indian beggars are Muslims, and out of them, women are more in the beggars. So today, 3 out of the 10 Muslims are below poverty line. If you go to the Jogi and Juptis of the city, most of them are the Muslims. So even recently, the Christopher Jafferlet, who is a great French author and historian and sociologist, he said about 31% youngsters, 18 to 25 years old, are uneducated and unemployed. Next. So what about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to pray, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-faqri wal kufr. Oh Allah Ta'ala, oh Allah, I take refuge from the poverty and the kufr. Then one of the great companions asked him, Vayadilan ya Rasulullah, is it the kufr and the poverty and the disgrace equal? The Prophet said, yes. Where there is faqr, where there is poverty, the kufr and disbelief will also be there. So there are a lot of stories of how people are being changing the religion also. You know the Ghar Wapasi, where some of the right-wing people converted the Muslims, and all these things are still with you. Next. So when we come to the National Zakat Survey done by AMP, we come to know that 30% people don't know the knowledge of the Zakat. Muslim people in this country and outside where the survey has made, 30% doesn't know the knowledge of the Zakat. 40% don't know how to correctly calculate the Zakat. And then 60% say that we are donating to the same person every year. And but one of the silver lining is that 70% agree that it should be collected, Zakat should be collected in a systematic way. Next. So actually, you know, the Zakat is for a caring and sharing society, because the 8 heads of the expenditure of the Zakat accommodate almost all the segments of the society's needs, and the discuss and the institutionalization of the Zakat, a caring and sharing society and a strong society can be created. So, basic needs of the society are provided, but we have to create, we have to remove the misunderstanding of the people that usually people think that Zakat is the pillar of Zakat to receive the Zakat. But in order to give Zakat, one has to be strong and financially sound. So it is the giving of the Zakat that is most important, not the taking the Zakat. Next. So the most important thing is wealth creation and financial literacy. Financial literacy is very, very poor in our community. Unless we create money, how can we distribute money? So creation of wealth is very important, and one has to indulge in business, and trade has to be encouraged. And so, as Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself was a trader, and he said, "Tisata asharu risk in a tijara." Out of the 10 portions of the risk, 9 is from the tijara, so the trade. And so, when we create money, and then Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says, "Amwalukum allati ja'ala Allahu lakum qiyamah." Your wealth is the sustenance of your life in this world. Unless you have the wealth, you can't have anything substantial in this world. So we have to create wealth, and to create wealth, you know, we have to indulge in business and activities, and so entrepreneurship has to be encouraged. So then when you create money, you have to have the habit of saving and then investment to productive business, and entrepreneurship has to be planned so that a strong community of givers is created. So a real economy has to be created so that people can create money, save and invest in productive trade, which create employment opportunities for all. So you know that involvement of the women is also very important in these efforts of the creation of wealth. You know Hazrat Khatija, the mother of Muslims, she was a great trader. About 50% of the Quraysh trade was done by Hazrat Khatija. And the Prophet ﷺ created a market called Market of Medina. And then in that, this is a great chapter of the Sirah, which has been ignored by most of the people. I have written an article on Market of Medina, in which not only the men, but also women were also there in the Market of Medina. And Prophet ﷺ said, "Al-jalibu ila suqina kal mujahid sabilillah." Those who come and then trade in my market is doing jihad in jihad mujahid fi sabilillah. And he said, the truthful trader will be raised on the day of Jannah, on the day of judgment, with the Shuhada and the Nabi Siddiqi. Next. So it also, Zakat also encourages entrepreneurship. And so people usually think that the Zakat fund is only allowed to give consumption. They spend, once you give the money to the Zakat Mustahak people, they spend and then they consume and then, but jurists say that it should be given as a seed money, as investment also. I will come back in some of the other slides and then say how we have to create an awareness among the people and how the Zakat money can be created as a seed money, as investment. So there are several experiments are there, successful in Bangladesh, Malaysia, Indonesia, and African countries. And also microfinance is another tool that can be adopted with the Zakat money. Next, please. Next. So one of the important things that I want to mention here is the mindset of our ulamas and the syllabus in our religious seminaries has to be changed. There is a great resistance among the ulamas of India. I was recently in the Deoband, both the Darul Deoband and the Waqf Deoband, and also I went to Nadwa and also Jamia Darul Salam Umrabad, and I met Jamia Muhammadiyah Maligaon's rector and all. And then they're reluctant because they think that it is not possible without what is called the Amir, without the head of the state, it is not possible to collect the Zakat. But also the problem with these ulamas, the problem, it is not the thing is they don't know how the practical field of work for the socio-economic survey and focusing on the real life of the people. They are very happy with the Salah, with the Hajj, and also with the Sawm and all these things. But Zakat is a very touchy affair for our ulamas. So, but for example, today, if we want to have the various departments, the Zakat requires different knowledge and skill. For collection of the Zakat, one should acquire the knowledge of psychology and sociology, personal relationship for approaching people, accountancy and auditing of the bookkeeping, statistics for conducting socio-economic surveys, and distribution to various categories, knowledge of very specific tools and techniques are necessary. So we have to specialized teaching of various aspects and actions of the Zakat return wholesale change in the syllabus and working model of the madrasa. For this, I think organizations like the Islamic Academy in India and World Zakat Council can be approached to coordinate in this task. Next. So the comprehension of the issues of the day. Today, assets are not just like those days, olden days, that it is confined to the silver and gold, and also the what is called the animals or the agriculture products. Today there are so many things that has to be digital assets are there and various things are there. New type of wealth has been created. So for that, we should have to have a comprehensive issues of the markets of today. For example, in the first century, in the second century of Hijrah, when the Islamic state was expanded, in many areas of the civilized world, Imam Muhammad used to, when Imam Muhammad was asked the various aspects of fatwas regarding the business, he used to sit in the bazaars of the Kufa and Baghdad and then learn about what is happening, the business activities and business management, how it's been done. And then after getting all this knowledge, he used to come back and do the fatwa. So today we have to see that special lectures on Zakat, short-term courses on the subject, and Friday sermons can be used to enhance the knowledge of the public and enthuse them on the subject. So I have been, because without the scholars, without the ulamas, we can't have any breakthrough in our society for the important foundation of the fundamental teachings of Islam. Zakat is very fundamental. Unless we go along with the ulamas and then convince them, we can't go ahead about the Zakat institutionalization. So I have written a small article, Muslim Fazilin and Nae Mashi Mahad, and in that one I have requested them to have a new look about the how the Zakat institution is working throughout the world, and also how entrepreneurship and Islamic financial banking, interest-free banking, and these things can be adopted in our school syllabus. And then they were very receptive, and they said that we'll sit together and do something. Next, please. So whether zakat can be given to non-Muslims, because most of the people don't agree, but Caliph Umar says that Fuqara means Muslims, Masakin means it should be non-Muslim among the in the Islamic territory, and Shubla Namani Rahmatullah alayh, and also Abu Yusuf in Kitab al-Kharaj has written, and Dr. Hamidullah has also said referred to Caliph Umar regarding this one. In a country like India, where we're living in 20% minorities, can we look into this aspect also? It is up to the ulamas, our able ulamas, and the what is called our intellectuals to interact with them. And can it be possible in India also to give a few percentage of the zakat to the zakat? That is my suggestion that we have to look into next. Next. So fintech technology is a powerful tool to widen the asset to and to outreach the social financing like zakat. Fintech is also creating technology, highly innovative, pioneering services. And so digitalization of collection of the zakat and disbursement is also there. Crowdfunding, as India Zakat is doing in a wonderful way. So these are the things that we have to inculcate in our zakat collection and disbursement. And we know that a lot of people throughout the world, ethics, Fineopolis, funding lab, and also India Zakat is doing it very fantastically in the fintech. This has to be used. Next. So now I am coming to a very important part, the case study of what is happening in other countries. About so World Zakat Forum is there, which is very doing a very important work throughout the world. Next. In Malaysia, one of the important things that I want to say is, in Malaysia they have separated the poor into productive poor and non-productive poor. And in non-productive poor, they separate the old age people, widows, physically challenged, and those who can't do anything. They give the zakat amount 20 to 25%. But the major part of the zakat is given to productive poor. A man who can be self-employed, youngsters who can be trained, given some skill, or some people who don't have finance, and then these people are giving 70 to 75% of the zakat. So this type of things we can also think it over in our country as well. Next. So in South Africa, there's a great model. In South Africa, there is a strong economic contribution to Muslims. Muslims are there only 1.6%, but they contribute 10% to the economy. So this says the President Ramaphosa. So unless we create money, create wealth, so we can't do a very significant institutionalization of the zakat. And this is the lesson that the South African model. And another important model is that the women are involved and engaged in the zakat system. You can see the photos, the sons of National Chairperson Feroz Muhammad, and then CEO Yasmina Frankie are two leading ladies in the world of zakat. And I think Sister Feroz Muhammad is going to speak tomorrow or day after. So what exactly have they been the prestigious global good governance award, PDG award of the world for transparency and capacity building championship. 52% staff of the Sons of women. Can't we think in the same way in our own country? Women are very talented. They are also very much engaged, and they are more religious and more talented, more educated in our own country. So I think these models that we have, and they have got innovative way of raising the zakat, and I think we have to look into the South Africa next. So Basnas, it is also the case of Indonesia. Indonesia has got a very significant improvement in the zakat collection, and then it has combined with UNDP, and Basnas has come out with so many novel investment propositions. Next. So Center for Zakat Management in Bangladesh, and it is one of the wonderful organizations I have visited 2 years back, and it has got defined specific objectives, pragmatic strategies, and appropriate methodology for proper distribution of zakat as per the tenets of the Sharia. But they have got a very strong organization and structure with qualified and efficient human resources. And so they have got a lot of way how to give the zakat. And I was very much impressed by the CEO of this CJM, a very humble person, looking very common face. But when I asked him who he was, Ayub Mia told me that he was the ex-secretary of the central government of Bangladesh. He was the secretary of commerce and industry. So there is a qualified people and efficient people, human resources there. I think AMP under the leadership of Idrisi, so our friend Amir Idrisi can have the same, and also Zaim Bhai. So they can have talented people, they can have a model of Zakat managed center for Zakat management as in Bangladesh, and try to involve in India also. Next. So another important thing that I want to show is that this is a sustainable development goal. You know that there is a lot of what is called disparity among the people, where there are oceans of poverty, there are only a few islands of prosperity. As some years before, there was a Wall Street agitation was there, whether you belong to 1% of rich people or 99% of the poor people. So what exactly happened in 2015? United Nations, 200 members started down that we have to end the poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So they came out with the 16 goals of this for sustainable development, in which no poverty, less hunger, no hunger, and also good health facilities, housing facilities. These are the 17 objectives of the sustainable development goal. And Sharia scholars say that is very near or very similar to the Maqasid al-Sharia, the 5 foundational goals of the Sharia, which is called the Maqasid al-Sharia. In Maqasid al-Sharia, there are 5 foundational goals which are known as the Hifzul Iman, Hifzul Nafs, Hifzul Nasl, Hifzul Aqal, and Hifzul Mal. Hifz of the faith, life, progeny, intellect, and the wealth. These are the 5 things that has to be protected in Sharia. And they say that sustainable development goal of the United Nations and the Maqasid al-Sharia of the 5 pillars of the objectives, protection of the 5 pillars are very near to each other. Next, please. So this is a slide from the role of the Zakat in supporting the sustainable development goal. This is from the Indonesia. They say that this is the biggest charity that can be given in the human history, and this is the Zakat. And so they say that we join together Zakat, the potential of the Zakat, and the aims and objectives of the sustainable development goal can create a world where there is no disparity, as Quran says that there should not be disparity, and the rich and our wealth should not be distributed among the rich only. The riches and the wealth should not be distributed among the rich only, but it should be percolated among all the segments of the society. That they say that sustainable development goal and the Maqasid Sharia, and among them the Zakat is going to support this sustainable development goal. Next. So this is the same thing, another slide, unlocking the potential of Zakat and other forms of Islamic finance. They say that along with the Zakat, if the Waqf is there, and also the Islamic banking, bonds, sukuk and all, can be making a responsible and sharing and caring society with the Zakat and other things, and then this planet will be a very caring and sharing societies can be created in this world. Next. So the last word, the thing is that Zakat means purity, and it has to be growth should be there, and it should be the giving should be the most important thing. Today, people are focusing only on individual giving rather than development impact of the Zakat fund, and so there should be paradigm shift so that the Zakat is not seen as the individual charity to reduce poverty, but rather a positive measure to redistribute wealth in order to prevent the poverty, focusing on building honor, dignity, and self-sufficiency by the community. Need of the hour is that the men and women of the community, scholars, social workers, and thought leaders with spirit and skill. We want ethics and efficiency. We want fighting with professionalism on this vital and fundamental teaching of Islam, institution of the Zakat, and change the face and fortune of the community. Inshallah, reward will be there in the world, and much more reward from the Lord awaits in the hereafter. if we start doing, and the lastly, I want to say that it was one of the great alim of the spiritual leader of our country, Maulana Ilyas. About 60 years before, when I was a young man, there was no so much, mosques were not there, no hafiz were there so much available in our cities and the towns. But Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah Alayh was there, who came out, and then he instituted the Jamaat Tabligh. We may agree or disagree with some of these techniques and tools of the Tabligh Jamaat, but this man went, created a force in our Muslim community, and they went village to village, and they said today, after 50, 60 years, there are everywhere, there are mosques are there, the people are there, a lot of people, both youngsters and old people are there in the mosque, and it is full of namazis today. So I think for the zakat also, zakat is a fundamental, just like wherever you read the Quran, it is along with the salat, it is zakat is also there. So for the zakat, people, youngsters, both men and women, and also the scholars have got a great responsibility. And so along with the scholars, thought leaders, and also the people of our community should come out and see that in the years to come, we focus on zakat, and see that a very, very sharing and caring society is made. We don't have any beggar in our society. As the Fajr Kifaya of a Muslim society is that there should not be anybody hungry in the night. And then the basic needs, what is called the Hajjul Kifaya, what are the basic needs of the person should be fulfilled by the Muslim society. So are we going to do that? This is the biggest question, and I hope and pray that the audience who are there in this meeting, and also others also join together to make zakat a great reality. And inshallah, we can make this one. And as in Malaysia, as in Indonesia, as in South Africa, ladies are there, and so new innovative systems are there. And so with this one, we can make the zakat a reality. Institution of the zakat is a reality. And if we do it in a very sincere way and very sound way, I think that there will be a great change in our society. There won't be any beggars. There won't be any uneducated person. We'll have Mu'minul Qawi, as Prophet ﷺ said that Mu'minul Qawi is khayrun min al-mu'min al-sa'if. The strong mu'min is better than the weak mu'min. So we have to make our ummah strong, and then we can also contribute to the country also. And I think the years are very good, and India is a developing country, is a changing country, and youngsters are there, and people are there in this country. And I request our organization, the Ummah, and also Zakat, India Zakat, and AMP. Brother Idrisi was telling, they have got 14,000 youngsters in the list. Why not? Both these organizations join together with a band of youngsters, both men and women. If they come together and do something in the same way as Malaysia has done, in the same way as South Africa has done, in the same way as Indonesia has done, in the same way as Bangladesh has done, inshallah, summa inshallah, I hope and pray that India will be changing with the zakat institution which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obligated on us, and then we can make a sea change in our life. And I pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will give the strength and tawfiq to change this world with the institutionalization of the zakat, and give us strength in this world, give us honor and dignity in this world, and then we will go to Him in the akhirah. He will reward us with the shahadas and salihin and nabeen, and inshallah, I pray Allah. So I thank again to India Zakat and also Ummah Zaim Bhai, so and Idrisi, so that Brother Idrisi for giving me this opportunity. I've been working in this field for several years, about 2 decades. I've been creating awareness among the people, and recently I had done this certificate course of the zakat management from Malaysia. Dr. Ubaidullah is also there in our advisors. So I request our youngsters to go into this certificate course also, which will be very helpful to all of you people, inshallah. I thank once again and pray Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Subhanallah, Abdur Raqeeb Sahab. Jazakallah khair for sharing your wonderful thoughts. Ultimate goal of zakat is that we should have a community of the people who give zakat, but there is none to receive it. These can be achieved only when we institutionalize zakat, as mentioned earlier, during Khalifa Umar and Umar bin Abdul Aziz period. Now, I would like to introduce and invite our second speaker of the day, Brother Dr. Sami Soulaimani, founder and CEO of Fineopolis. Dr. Sami Soulaimani is a social impact enthusiast with a demonstrated history of working in the Islamic finance and consulting industry. As an international expert in Islamic finance and economics, Dr. Sami actively participated and lead many advisory projects related to the product development of Islamic financial products and the establishment of Islamic banks and windows. He also assisted many regulatory authorities, including central banks and government agencies, to establish the legal and supervisory framework for introducing Islamic banking, Islamic microfinance, sukuk and zakat tools and institutions in many countries. With a great honor, I invite Dr. Sami Soulaimani to share his view on most common challenges with zakat management today and the possible solution for the same. Over to Brother Dr. Sami Soulaimani. Now, your timing is 30 minutes from now.
Okay, thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Salatu salam ala Rasulillah. May I share my screen, please? So, thank you, doctor. Thank you, professor, for these insights. It was very actually interesting and your impressive expertise in this field. I really appreciated the lecture. When it comes to my perspective, I am more involved in, advising this kind of institutions or governments or NGOs to deal with the zakat and also with waqf and also with Islamic finance. But in this last couple of years, we are more involved in the zakat space. So I have seen some of the, let's say, common challenges that, the zakat institutionalization is facing. Let's firstly, present where zakat stands from the Islamic finance perspective, because this is my perspective. The Islamic social finance is a new stream in the Islamic finance that is more based on the, instruments that are, philanthropic instruments such as zakat and waqf, and that is using Sharia impact investment, that is using microfinance, crowdfunding, sukuk, and so on and so forth, with the objective of having a more healthy and sustainable Islamic economy. Just to keep in mind that the competitive, or let's say sustainable competitive advantage of the Islamic finance is to fulfill a social promise, because this is let's say a responsible finance. When you say responsible, that means that you're responsible of what you do, and even for the things that you don't do, meaning that even if poverty is there, you have to address the poverty. So zakat in this Islamic social finance is the first component, is the first component, because when you talk about the Islamic finance, the first word that should pop up is the word zakat. It's back to basics. If you want to do Islamic economy, the first thing, if you want to be a Muslim, is to say shahadatain, to pray, and then pay zakat. So this reminds us that all of us are responsible towards our community, not only worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with salat, but also participating in poverty alleviation, in all of these, contributions that we should do for helping our community and make the community more sustainable. When it comes to zakat now, let's say that most of the policymakers in the IC countries, they are not actually having any specific tools or regulations that can make them properly supervise the practices of the zakat. And let's say that this is a problem because at the end of the day, they cannot protect the end beneficiaries, and they cannot protect the donors from the fact that their money can be misused. Let's say that some of these countries have a strong experience in zakat, like Indonesia, for example, like Malaysia, for example. So we have some countries, but most of the countries, most of IC countries, they don't have any specific regulations for zakat. But however, what's happening now is that because we have this, the problems of supporting the national development plans, of paying the social expenditure from the budget, national budget. So all of these countries are now looking to the zakat as one of the tools, as one of the instruments to address this kind of situations. So this is why, and zakat now is gaining like popularity day by day, and especially because now we have this main challenge, which is more global than the OIC countries or Muslim countries, which is reducing the Sdg financing gap. The problem of SDGs, we have an agenda of Sdg 2030. The problem is how to finance this agenda, how to achieve the sustainable development goals by 2030. And the problem is that we have a big gap in terms of financing these goals. So this is why all of these guys working in the SDG space, trying to find out any possible solutions to finance this, to reduce this gap financing. And let's say that zakat, because it is aligned with the SDGs, is one of the main, let's say, candidates to address this, this gap. Okay, so how it happens? How can we address this gap? How can we use this zakat for addressing the SDGs, for financing the national or the social expenditure for countries, and how can we do poverty alleviation, etc., etc. The problem is that zakat is really and heavily relies on the trust between the donors in the zakat institutions or the institutions that are managing zakat funds. They are really these donors or these zakat payers are really now caring about how zakat is collected, how it is invested, how it is managed, and how it's dispersed to the end beneficiaries. So now what's happening is that the zakat donors, more globally, all the Muslims around the world now are more caring about the impact that their money is creating. So, and this is one of the main things is, the trust between the zakat institutions or zakat or the institutions managing zakat funds and the donors. Number one. Number two, you have another problem is that there is a large gap in terms of zakat awareness, as mentioned earlier. So, most of the zakat donors, they have a problem of, awareness and education because they don't know how the zakat is calculated, who is eligible, who are the right beneficiaries. They all the time, have these misunderstandings and misconceptions about overlapping with taxes. Do we pay zakat and pay taxes at the same time? Is this the same thing? And not? We have a lot of work to be to do in terms of advancing mentalities and advancing, the education into the right path, and so make the donors first understand what is their duty and calculate rightly the zakat, and then going into the action and paying the zakat to let's say trustworthy institutions. Let's say that the risks now in the zakat space that we are, when we go into the zakat space, we see that in this international context, a lot of institutions, even secular institutions now, are competing for zakat money. This is a reality. Now, if you go to the Oxfam, UNHCR, International Relief, a lot of institutions that I have seen going into the zakat space and trying to attract some of the zakat funds in order to finance their social or development programs. So the problem of this is that they don't have, let's say, I'm not saying those I just mentioned, but many others don't have the knowledge, and they don't have any criteria, policies, procedures, Sharia governance, anything, or let's say most of these things, they don't have them so they can address or they use the zakat funds properly. This is implying, or let's say, as a consequence, we have a development and proliferation of undisciplined practices. There is another risk, which is wasting the zakat fund, because these zakat funds will be channeled to some, beneficiaries that are not deserving this money. They're not non-eligible. I have seen, for example, some of these international institutions saying that because they are secular, they don't make any difference between Muslims and non-Muslims. The problem is that zakat is taken from Muslim. Is not taken from a general, population. It's taken from Muslim to go to the Muslim, and they can be used to non-Muslims, but within certain limits and within certain, with some criteria. But nobody is actually ensuring to us that these criteria or these requirements are really fulfilled. The risk also is that because there is an inadequate zakat management, this is creating a confusion and suspicion actually from all the stakeholders. The authorities are really looking to these institutions as suspicious, because they don't know how the money is used. Maybe they're used for some purposes that they are not actually complying with the regulations. The general public is not trusting these institutions because they see like nothing is clear. There's no governance, there's no transparency, and so on and so forth. And this is, by consequence, will delay the institutionalization of zakat and will cause a loss of trust between all the stakeholders in terms of zakat management. So let's now have a look to the challenges from a zakat funded institution perspective. Suppose that we are an NGO using zakat money, or we are a zakat institution. What would be the main challenges that we have? The main challenges that we have is building the capacities, building institutional and individual capacities. We have that the institution should have the policies and procedures in everything that make the institution handle the zakat funds correctly. And also we have to have human resources that are trained, qualified in order to deal with the zakat management. Just, let me say something about when you say zakat management, what is it about? Zakat management is about doing awareness, doing fundraising, doing calculation properly, doing collection, doing storage, doing exchanging of sometimes the zakat you have it in kind, so you have to exchange it into our financial assets sometimes, and doing program design in order to do disbursement, doing social research, because we have to know that these guys to whom we give money are really eligible, and we have to track all of these. We have to know if these guys that have been beneficiaries from the zakat are now growing up, are now going into a more autonomous and have they been economically empowered or not. We have to track all of these. We have to track the impact of the money that we are actually doing disbursing. So all of this is zakat management. So we have also, as one of the challenges is to enhance governance, transparency, and public disclosure. This is something that we cannot, get rid of. We have definitely to work on the enhancing the governance and transparency and public disclosure. We have also to enhance efficiency and effectiveness by having reliable process and procedures. We have to design the programs, the disbursement programs. It's not about only giving money or giving food. The programs, we have two kinds of zakat programs. We have the humanitarian zakat and we have the productive zakat. Sometimes these people just looking because they are hungry. They want to eat now. So we have a problem now. We have to serve to fix the problem right now. But we have some other people that are not in this, let's say, the extreme poverty, where we can help them having some productive activities to empower them economically. So we have these two kinds of programs: the ones who have humanitarian, the others who are productive. So we have, as a zakat funded institution, we have to design impact-oriented programs. We have to create partnerships between the institutions, either public institutions or private institutions. And finally, one of the challenges, main challenge, is the technology embracement. Technology adoption is a very big problem. Why I'm telling you this? Because of one trend now that is going global. People now are paying their charity online. This is a real problem. So everyone now is competing online. If you don't go online, you will have very few amount of money given left. So we have to compete with this, in this global perspective. So we have to have some technology embracement. We have to adopt technology also for enhancing, transparency by using blockchain, by using crowdfunding platforms, by using a lot of things. I mean, can be done by, doing this technology embracement. So this is, from, let's say, as a Zakat-funded institution. From a more global perspective, we have these challenges of transforming Zakat institutions, very general. This is very general and very common. Normally, we have these institutions like working on a more individual approach model, and we have to transform them and go into a more institutional model. And you have to, this is should be done to increase the transparency and efficiency and so on and so forth. We have to build comprehensive frameworks for establishing, managing, regulating Zakat. We have to have a clear, defined set of mandatory or optional, requirements to understand exactly what should be done if you are managing Zakat funds. We have to create mechanisms that could be tracked and they can be traced, so we can at the same time identify the opportunities for any improvement and identify any risks to be managed. And we have also to strengthen the coordination, the relevance linkages, learning from others, harmonization of the sector practices, while taking into account definitely all the local laws and legal requirements, which would be more local than global. So this is from a very big, or large perspective. Now, what would be the solutions for these challenges? One of the solutions is we have definitely to develop a strong regulatory and supervisory framework. This is very important to protect donors and to protect beneficiaries. We have also to support institutional work and partnership between all the stakeholders. We have to build individual and institutional capacities for all the workers in this, in this space. And we have to stimulate, and this is very important, creative and entrepreneurial initiatives, with using particularly some new business models and using digital transformation. If I have a couple of seconds, or I have some time, please.
You have another 2 minutes, Doctor.
Okay, so we, as a Fineopolis consultant, we tried to, come up with something and a solution. Let's say we wanted to help improve this Zakat management and to deal with these challenges that we have just mentioned. So we said, you know what, we have maybe to develop a kind of standards, or let's say guidelines of a widely accepted common ground of best practices. And this common ground of best practices that will be transformed into a standard will be used by the largest number of stakeholders. So this is what we thought of. Actually, we developed a standard that is actually addressing these 5 main requirements. If you want to manage Zakat properly, and if you want to have guidelines, or if you want to have to know what are the requirements, so you have to fulfill this 5 main streams of requirements. The first one definitely is the Sharia compliance, the Sharia requirements. This is the first thing. Then we have to go into the accounting and financial transparency, so disclosure and financial transparency. We have also to see that this institution using the Zakat funds is an institution. It's not only an organized, something which is not organized, just, a group of people that they don't have any processes, they don't have any procedures. So we have to get some quality management requirements, and we have to have impact indicators. So at the end of the day, if we have requirements in this 5 streams, we may say that this zakat institution or the zakat funded institution is most probably fulfilling the more performant management system. Building this zakat management standard, the idea behind was actually to do a kind of certification. So the idea is to certify zakat institutions in terms of management. So as I have just mentioned, we go to these institutions, we look to their policies and procedures, we look to their Sharia compliance, and we do look to their governance and financial transparency and so on and so forth. We train them, and we are sure that these guys they know exactly what they are actually doing in terms of zakat management, and then we give this certification, which should be audited every year. This is one of the solutions that we imagined with this kind of problems of zakat management systems. Thank you very much, and looking forward actually to hearing from you your feedback regarding this proposal. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Sami. MashaAllah, that was really very enlightening. And you have shared your versatile experience on the topic. And definitely AMP and many other such bodies who are joined us today would like to go for the certifications for our bodies also. Jazakallah khair for both the sheikhs who have been so far shared their experience with us, their knowledge with us. We would be seeking their help toward the end if we have any questions from our participants. And now to proceed further, I would like to invite our third speaker of the day, Mohtaram Mufti Shamshul Haq Misbahi, Jamia Imam Ahmad Raza Hasan ul Barkat, Newcastle, South Africa. Maulana has qualified as a Fazilat with distinction from Ajmayatul Ashrafa Arabia University, Mubarakpur, India, 1998. Fazil from Arabic and Persian Board, Allahabad, UP, India, in 1997. Alimiyat with distinction from Ajmayatul Ashrafia Arabic University, Mubarakpur, India, 1996. Alim in 1995. Munshi from Arabic and Persian Board, 1997. Degree with distinction for teaching Holy Quran Science from Ajmayatul Ashrafia Arabic University, and degree with distinction for teaching Hadith Science from Ajmayatul Ashrafia Arabic, Mubarakpur, India, 1998. Another degree he holds is again in distinction for teaching Islamic jurisprudence from Ajmayatul Ashrafia Arabic University, Mubarakpur. So Khalifat and Ijazat granted by Huzur Tajus Sharia Allama Akhtar Raza Damat Barakatul Qudsiya in 2010, Johannesburg, South Africa. Higher certification in Islamic finance with distinction from Regent Business School, Durban, South Africa. He was heading Sunni Ulema Board, South Africa as a senior Mufti and served at Darul Ulum as a principal and Mufti Darul Ulum Jamia Imam Ahmad Raza Hasan ul Barakaat, Newcastle, South Africa, and has served at Anwar-e-Mustafa Islamic Society Masjid-e-Noorani as Mufti and Khatib, Newcastle, South Africa. He was running Darul Uloom Institute of Islamic Education and Culture as a principal, Malawi, from 2001 to 2006, and he served at Anwar-e-Mustafa Islamic Society, and he has conducted Arabic speaking courses in Bhiwandi, Mumbai, and he was also chief editor for Al Khalam Arabic periodical and Ajmayatul Ashrafia Arabic University, India, from 1995 to 1996. So there is much more to talk about Mufti, but unfortunately, because of the shortage of time, we would be unable to introduce him in length, but definitely would like to hear from him as to what all experiences and thoughts he has to share with all the people here. So with the great privilege and honor, I would like to invite Mohtaram Mufti Shamsul Haq Misbahi Saab for his wonderful words. Over to you, Mufti Saab. Mufti Saab will be back very soon. Till then, let me go to the Q&A section, and we find one question which is a kind of half repeat from the previous days. Sufi Qureshi has asked, it is said that Sayyids are not eligible to take Zakat. Please elaborate who is a Sayyid and why or why not give Zakat to a Sayyid. I hope if we have the other two speakers for the day, if they can put some light on this. let me repeat what was answered yesterday as for the Mufti Saab from Lucknow. He was very clear. He said, like, if we cannot give zakat, let us give the other forms of charity. We do have many other forms of charity. So if Sayyids are not to be given zakat, so let's give them other form of charity. And why anybody should be on the recipient side of zakat. So that is what I think one answer we got yesterday. Definitely, if we have anybody else who can share, we'll look for the speakers in further session to answer this question again. Meanwhile, there is another question asked. The name is not disclosed here. It's a mobile name. Criteria for zakat eligible family in India in present living standard, that is definition of zakat receiver, ceiling of income or and disabled physical challenged persons are eligible. Okay. Brother Zaim, do you think that anybody we have here could answer this question?
Yeah, Brother Abdur Raqeeb, Dr. Syed Zafar, if they want to chip in, they can. Actually, we have both the answers in our previous sessions as well. So we can either they can answer, or we can actually keep this on our, the person who's typed this question can refer to the answers that were given yesterday and day before to just save time. Or if we have any speaker in the end, we can actually take that as answers as well.
Inshallah, we'll be sharing the video recording links also once it is uploaded on the YouTube, and we'd request all our participants, if they have missed any of the part of the 5-day session, they could refer back to it on YouTube once the links have been shared. Couple of things very interesting shared in the last 2 days, and in fact part of today also. That one is we can easily see that it is most of us are desiring that the zakat funding should be institutionalized, and we should not look out for individuals or some group of people to come forward and take our zakat and try to hand over to somebody else, and this would not meet the purpose. So institutionalizing is a very important aspect that we could see. And also, yes, awareness is much more important, that most of the muftis and sheikhs and scholars who have been with us have been always guiding. And I think it's a big responsibility on all of us that we introspect on this and try to acquire as much knowledge and information about how zakat can be made more beneficial, made more productive. Most of us are giving zakat for the sake of giving, but we should also see to it that we are converting every receiver into a giver in the coming years. So I think that should be the focus in the coming time. Zaimba, if we can quickly check if Mufti.
Yeah, we're
Mufti
waiting for
Shamshul
Mufti Saab to update. Brother Feroz is on it, Alhamdulillah. I think he has something important. That's why he dropped off. He was actually here until now. He just dropped off for some time.
Brother Zaim, meanwhile, there was a question I could see somebody had raised that point that can we know more about Ummah 1? So would you like to take this opportunity and brief us all about for 2 minutes as to what Ummah 1 is all about?
Yeah, sure. Before that, there was one question, I think, because it's anonymous. It was from my brother or sister, we don't know. Because Brother Abdur Raqeeb spoke about certifications and zakat management certifications, because I think that's much more important topic. If Brother Abdur Raqeeb is here, if you want to highlight some certifications that attendees can benefit from, Brother Abdur Raqeeb, you want to give some insights into that?
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me, brother?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
The one Dr. Ubaidullah Sahab, who was there in IDB, and also he's there in Malaysia and Indonesia and all. He's a very fine person, pioneering in Zakat, Waqf and Islamic finance and all. I think he was also last time here in our webinar. He can be contacted because he has run a certificate course. And we in Indian Center for Islamic Finance were sponsoring for about 100 or 150 students are the applicant to do that work. But now that certification course has been handed over to Manipal University, which a greater fees. So if you contact Dr. Ubaidullah, and I can give, I think Brother Amir has got his address and the contacts and all. And
Yeah,
he contacted, that is the best thing to be connected with that Zakat certification course.
Could you highlight some insights from the course that you did, Brother Abdur? You also have done a recent certification in Zakat management, right?
No, it is, I think, about 100 hours course, and then they are giving some notes and all these things, various aspects of the Zakat. And they ask questions, all objective questions are being asked, and then we are giving the numbers for that one. And I think several people, I think in India also about 50, 60 people have done that certification course. And also, I think Sons of South African chairperson, Raza also did that course. I tried to contact at that time Brother Amir, but there was not proper coordination. So I think we have to come again to Dr. Ubaidullah and do something, inshallah. That will be the best thing.
Okay, inshallah, we'll try and connect and pass on the certification details. So whoever asked this question, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Then you can write your name so we can actually reach out to you, or if you can actually type out your name, or we'll send this information, inshallah, to all attendees. Because we have the contact
Mr. Zaim, Brother Zaim, I want to have one thing that I missed. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, what I'm telling is I had been visiting so many cities, and then last 2 weeks back, I went to Bangalore. Bangalore, you know, that is a silicon city of India. There are thousands and thousands of people, IT professionals there coming from all over India. And another thing, you know, a lot of workers, low paid workers for building and all these things are coming. There is a big difference between the IT professionals and the people from daily working wages and all. And so there are a lot of slums there in each and every city. So what I'm thinking is AMP and UBA can select a few slums and all and make a socio-economic survey and see that these people are focused, and then they should transfer these people to Zakat takers to Zakat givers or something, you know, the skill can be developed and then their earnings can be enhanced, so that a kind of role model slums can turn into a good thing, good and prosperous housing colony can be produced. And that's how the effect of the Zakat can be seen by our own eyes, and that can be showcased to the whole Indian society also, and it will give a great opportunity for the people to see how Zakat has been Zakat can be taken into the next stage.
Alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi ishrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. صلاة وسلام عليك سيدي يا رسول الله. صلاة وسلام عليك سيدي يا حبيبي يا حبيب الله. Extremely sorry for the delay, and in fact what has happened, it is Maghrib time now here in South Africa in Newcastle, and I was just caught in between. So extremely sorry for that, and Jazakallah for giving me this beautiful opportunity to be with the professionals, with doctors, with very much learned people, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all with the understanding of the deen and sincere khidmat of the deen. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Congratulations and heartfelt compliments, duas for Amir Idrisi Saab and all his entire team for organizing this beautiful platform and for this very great important initiative of Zakat.com, so that we can mobilize the Ummah and bring the people near Islam and bring the awareness amongst the people, and so that we can further our work to serve the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah. I've heard a bit of Dr. Raqeeb, Abdur Raqeeb Sahab, and as well as Dr. Soulaimani, their discourses and their presentation, lovely, very informative. And we are just running short of time. But however, inshallah, I'll try my utmost to just do the justice with the topic assigned to me. And that is most common challenges with zakat management today and the possible solutions for the same. Dr. Soulaimani has given us very beautiful breakdown of all those challenges, undermining the very fundamental pillar of the Islam and also the solution. I feel, in my humble opinion, that the most common challenge, the biggest challenge we can say with regard to the management of the zakat funds today is the mismanagement or the management itself. And alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, I do not complain. We should not groan about the ummah. The situation is such, the ummah is just dismantled and there's no leadership. And because of that, we are facing all these problems. But the information shared on the platforms by Sons of South African National Zakat Fund and other organizations, this is really very encouraging and mind-boggling same time, that so much so the ummah has the strength and we can do a lot of work. But as I said, that the problem is the management of that zakat fund and to channelize and to direct it to the right direction and to get it to the right recipients and right people of that zakat fund. As it is said, and the thinkers or the leaders, they have just very beautifully said, Dr. Iqbal said, "Apni millat par qiyas aqwame maghrib se na kar, khas hai tarkib mein qawme Rasool Hashmi." So this is the potential which we have. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah. So I think the fiqh zakat, the understanding of the zakat, the importance of the zakat, if we understand, everyone understand, every Muslim, every individual, every fard of the ummah understands, that will be a revolution in the ummah. But nevertheless, we have the strength. We need to just properly channel it and direct it to the right directions. The importance of the zakat, as all the panelists, they have discussed beautifully in the light of the Quran, in the light of the Hadith, and the importance of zakat is that, like other ibadat, it is also important for an individual, for a Muslim, for a believer, like salah. In 30 places, Quran has instructed the believers, along with the salah, to pay the zakat. And in those explanations of the salah in the zakat, if you go, it will be very long. But what we need to understand, the spirit, and that is the congregational spirit, the unity, the union of the ummah. As every ibadat of Islam has got this spirit to bring people together, to bring Muslims together. So it is the zakat. And the payment of the zakat, it can be individually, privately, and also it can be collectively, it should be collectively, as it is the taqsim or the categorization of the amwal, the wealth, that amwal batina and amwal zahira. Amwal zahira, that was the business which was seen, it was apparent to the people, to the state, and then there used to be collection of the zakat on that. And the amwal batina, as it is, that hidden, is not known to the public, so that is also the private. So we can understand the type of the zakat. It can be individually, privately, and also as well as it can be publicly, or we can say the official with the people and congregationally with the Jamaat and with the group of the community. As it comes to the management of the zakat, zakat is explained to be the pillar of the Islam, third pillar of Islam. Bunya al-Islam ala khams. Ita is zakah, the third pillar. We always groan, we complain that the namaz or the salah has been given the importance. The zakat is being ignored. As we are concerned, brethren, in the individuals, we must be very, very mindful of this, that when we are discussing the zakat, trying to promote the zakat, bring the awareness about the zakat, we should not make that mistake as it has been made by the people. That people, they might be very punctual for the salah, very great ibadat guzar, big ibadat guzar, worshippers. But at the same time, if you ask about the zakat, they will not have that regard as they have for the salah. But as we are discussing about the importance of the zakat, we should not make that mistake that we only focus upon the zakat, and we ignore other pillars of Islam. So the main thing is that the dini and religious spirit should come in the ummah, and which is there, which is already there, and we need to just enhance it, and we need to just increase it. And by that, we are going to be able to do much more as we can do now with the facilitation or the funds of the zakat, inshallah. As Quran has mentioned about the recipients of the zakat, recipients of the zakat, where it is mentioned in Surah Tawbah, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا. I'm going to emphasize on the word عَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا. That is the management. That is the management. Quran instructs that those who work upon the zakat collection, and it can be as well as the distribution of the zakat. So this is the management. So we got to be very, very concerned and mindful about the management. There should not be any mismanagement. And this is the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The purpose of the zakat, as we all know, as we have given the details about that and quoted and cited from the Quran and the Hadith about the zakat. Zakat cannot be understood anyhow as the modern taxation of the modern era, today's time. This is totally different. It has got, the zakat has got the importance, social importance, as well as spiritual importance. So by that, one who gives zakat, he must be very, very concerned and mindful about the zakat. As we are discussing about the management, so the management, I think this is actually the biggest challenge, the mismanagement. And the solution for the same, solution for all this, I would like to take from top. Whenever we are doing an act of ibadat, an act of ibadat like the salah, the hadith teaches us the maqam and the level of the ihsan. Execution of any act of ibadat, we must be that much sincere that it should reach our level of spirituality, and the sincerity should reach that ihsan, where the hadith says that we must meditate, we must be in this level of meditation and the devotion that that we we must feel that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in lam yakun fa innahu yarak. Or if you are not in that state of meditation and the khushu and the devotion, then you must know, be firm on this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching you. This is about the salah. Likewise, in any action of the ibadat like the zakat, we must be very, very mindful of this, that whatever we are doing, it is watched, it is monitored by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards the person, blesses the person as per his niyat and the intention. Innamal a'malu binniyat. So this is very fundamental when we are doing any act of ibadat, that we are understanding, comprehending the spirit and the education and the teaching of the deen, that how we are carrying it out, how we are doing that particular act of the ibadat. So for the solution, I think first is that we must try as an individual, as an organization, as an imam, as a leader, as an educator, as a teacher, that we must bring the religiosity, mazhabiyat dindari. The person needs to be religious, understanding this spirit of the deen, that why I am a Muslim, why I am paying the zakat, why I'm paying the praying the salah, all that. So if that is sorted out, I think the foundation of all our exercises are sorted out. And thereafter, this awareness amongst the people should be brought from our musalla, from our sermons, from Jummahs, from our Aimmas. Alhamdulillah. Summa alhamdulillah, Islam has given us such a beautiful platform that every day Imam is with the congregation. We need to just bring it practical, make it practical. People, they come and associate with the Imam, interact with the Imam, they read behind Imam, and then everything is going to be actually in its place. So we need to bring that awareness. Dr. Abdur Raqeeb Sahab and Soulaimani Sahab, they have just highlighted the people, they don't know. They are very good namazi, but they don't know about the zakat. So we need to bring that awareness. So one of the solution for all these challenges is the awareness, and awareness in that manner, in that way, that people, they understand how we should do our acts of ibadah. Then I think then the institutions of the zakat, because the Muslims throughout the world do not have a leadership, a sort of Islamic governance, as the people, you brothers, you all understand what it means. So because of the lack of the Imarat leadership or the governance, we do not have any system in the society. Anyone comes, he collects the zakat. Anyone, he comes and he says that I am deserving for the zakat. There is no assessment. So that is a big challenge, that big amount of our zakat funds is being misused by the collectors and by the recipients. So we need to have the marakis, the centers, the institutions of zakat, as South Africa has National Zakat Fund, and other countries, they have started. Zakat.com has been initiated by these youth, the pride of the Ummah, alhamdulillah, the ambassador, the leaders in this field of work. So may Allah preserve them all, preserve you all. So we need to establish now centers. After bringing the awareness, we need to have the institutions and the centers for especially zakat, and that should be very, 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 very particular about their rules, about the implementation, about their methodology, about their actions. And as I mentioned earlier on, that sincerity should be brought to the people, to the special people, to the khawas and the awam, to the masses and to the leaders. Then is going to be everything for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, everything for the pleasure of his mahbub, Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. So we need to have the marakis of the centers of collections of the zakat, and the distributions of the zakat. And that's how actually somehow we reach that very, very important matter when it comes to the progress or the welfare of the ummah, that is the iqamatul deen, imarat, where we bring the deen in practical, we practice the deen. And when it comes to the deen, we should not be that we following one part of the deen, one section of the deen. Namaz, we are very punctual, but other section is ignored. So when it comes, it should not be that we are believing in some part of the book and the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are ignorant, we are ignoring, we are neglecting, we are discarding the other parts of the deen. So it should not be there. So iqamatul deen, imaratul deen, that we give priority and preference to our deen. When it comes to the markaz, to the centers, so everything is going to be, inshallah, on the proper direction, on the proper line, because everyone will be looking for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the pleasure of his Habib, Sayyidina Rasulullah, and then how the institution and the individuals, the workers, the leaders, everyone will be a faqir to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think that is going to be very, very fundamental when we have the centers, when we have the imarat, when we have the institution, and which are committed to collect the zakat and distribute the zakat and to send it to the right direction to the deserving people. Then, as we have just mentioned about the solution that we have the institutions and the centers for channelizing the zakat funds, then amilin, those amilin which Quran has mentioned, those workers of the zakat, they should be trained. They should be trained in such a way that a single penny, a cent of that fund, they are so mindful and concerned about that they regard it as the amanat, as haqqun ma'loom lis-saili wal mahroom, as Quran has mentioned, that this is not my money, this is a haqq of a banda of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, an abd of Allah, haqqul abd, huququl ibad. And we, after that, if we get that for the amilin, inshallah, we are going to have the solution for all our challenges. And then, as well as the officials of those institutions, the madaran and the leaders of that, everyone should be sincere and trained for that. We bring a sort of Islamic governance. We do not say the khilafat ala minhajun nubuwwah, the khilafat in that line of the khulafa, our leaders. They led the community, they led their lives, their personal life. How sincere were they? How committed were they? We need to bring that. And that is actually the tarkeeb of Qawm Hashmi. That is actually the composition of the nation of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we do everything for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Innamal a'malu binniyat. This is my final point. The solution, that the commitment should be such in the individuals, the amilin, the workers, the leaders, and the institutions, that always they are focusing on their purpose and their goal. That what we are up to. Are we here to collect the zakat and eat? Are we here to collect the zakat and serve the community? What we are here for. So when we have the focus, target, and the sight only on the target and on the purpose, then inshallah, it will be a very great success for that institution and for that individual and for that organization which are serving the community and the ummah through the collection and the distribution of the zakat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with the understanding of the deen, with the tawfiq and the ability to practice the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unite the ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the ummah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless the ummah with the education, with the ta'aleem, and with the light of the Quran. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Wa akhiru dawana. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Subhanallah. Mashallah, Mufti Sab. That was really very enlightening. And Jazakallah khair for sharing all those wonderful thoughts with us. Mufti Sab, we have another 4-5 minutes and we have a couple of questions. And we would seek your
Yes.
help to please answer these questions.
I will have, inshallah. I will have.
Uh,
Mashallah.
so our brother Adil Mirza has asked a question that can zakat be given for marriages of poor, or it is better to give to sadaqah or gift?
No, it can be given. It can be given as long as that person is deserving. He is the right recipient. He is not malik of the nisab. Then it can be given.
Jazakallah khair for that. There's another question that, like, we would seek your help also here. That can zakat, is there any criteria for zakat eligible families in India in the present situation?
Look, the criteria is already decided and given by Sharia, and that is that particular individual should not be owner of the nisab, and that is the 7.5 tola of gold, which is 85 grams, and I can give you the proper measurement of that, and the gold, and in that amount, if he has cash or the money. So if this is the case, then he is eligible for the zakat, and it can be given to the family. And what happens when it comes to the family? Maybe the father has got the milkiyat of the nisab, but the son does not have. But they all staying together. So we should be very, very actually concerned about that. So we do the assessment and we give it to the son, so it can help. And once he's given the zakat, it's not zakat for him. Is a lillah for him, it's a gift for him. So he can give, he can use in the house expenditure, whatever he wants for.
Continuing to the same question, Mufti Sahab, can it be given to any disabled person also?
Disability, physical disability.
Yeah, physical disability.
Yes, of course. If only that is the criteria, he should not be the malik of nisab. He should be faqir. He should be faqir in the term of the Sharia.
Okay.
Like that's not. If anyone has that amount of gold or the silver, so maybe a disabled person, he needs for his medication or something, for his treatment, or anyone who's suffering from some such problem, then that instruction or the masala of the Sharia is this, the rule of the Sharia, that he must use that much of the gold which he has, he must sell that, must use for his treatment, for his expenditure, and thereafter he is recipient or the eligible for receiving the zakat, then he can be given the zakat.
Jazakallah khair. I hope that answers the question very well. And there's one last question which would take Mufti Sahab. That is Muhammad Soulaimani is asking, can we pay zakat for a business to the needy who is eligible for zakat? Not just give him a cash, but support him to start a business.
Yes, it depends how it actually. The ulama have two opinions about the tamlik, but we follow that the person must be made the owner of that amount which is zakat. In that explanation, now in that light we can understand. So if he is given the ownership of that share of that business, then it is fine. Hope it answers the question.
Yes, okay. So if he's becoming the owner, then it is possible.
It's possible. It's possible. Like anything, if I have zakat fund and I can buy the books with that money of zakat, then I can give that book to the deserving students. I can buy food and give it to the deserving people, those who are hungry. I can buy the business. We can establish the business and make the ownership to that individual. So it is allowed.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Last one question we would like to ask you, and then we'll call our brother Amin for dua. That is, if somebody wants to start up an institute where they want to manage the zakat, so what are the quick suggestions that you would like to give?
See, the good example of that is our madrasa system nowadays. So what ulama they do, and they are very, very strict on that, alhamdulillah. So if they have students, it can be future students also. So their fees, like for an example, for 1 year or for 1 month is 18,000. So we calculated for the 10 months or the 12 months, and then it's an amount 200,000, 2 lakh or 3 lakh. So per students this is the amount for the education, and on behalf of that is from those students is paid to the institution. So for the institution, it becomes like a payment of the fees. That's how the ulama they do. And if this is not the case, but I do not agree with this too much, because also I'm a khadim of a darulum, and that's what we do. And we physically give that amount, that money to the boys, and they go and pay to the office. It becomes 100% clear. But there is one hila, there is a way and method of turning the ownership of that money or that fund, and that's how it becomes lillah. Like if someone gives zakat, so that zakat can be given to an eligible person, and that person then he donates to the institution. So also the people, officials of the Darul institution, they are doing that.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, to all the muftis and Mufti Shamshul, Misbahi Sahab for all these patience and sharing his knowledge with us. Also to Dr. Sami and also to Abdur Raqeeb Sahab. Jazakallah khair. Now to moving toward the closing of the section, who are here, who is listening to us. And with this, I, Muhammad Zamir Hussain, as a convener for the day, would like to sign out. Jazakumullah khair. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.